Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today I'm doing a review of Cozy Stickerville, and disclaimer that I got a review copy of this one, and also disclaimer that I played through the entire campaign with my wife, which is certainly going to color my appreciation of the game because we had a blast with it. Cozy Stickerville is, as its name implies, a cozy game, very lighthearted, where 1 to 6 players are going through a series of years in a legacy campaign, 10 in all, each year consisting of 12 turns. And on a turn, you flip 1 card from this event deck, and then you get to take an action, which is often spending resources to get a sticker and place it out on your board. And doing so will give you happiness, upgrades, achievements, all of which will change your ending at the end of the campaign. So let's discuss 5 key things to know about Cozy Stickerville. So starting at number 5, the least important to know, but still important or I wouldn't mention it, are the event cards. This is a pro for my taste. So as I mentioned, each turn consists of flipping an event card and then taking an action. And the events come in generally 2 types. One of them will give you an either or choice, which you'll flip to discover what happens, while the other type will give you ongoing access to an action you can take, often creating buildings, bringing new people into your valley. And these are fun. They inject little bits of whimsy and narrative into the game. And they also provide the main narrative push and cohesion as you advance through the years, especially because many of them in later years will check if you have certain things in your map, if you've done certain actions, and they'll give you bonuses or penalties related to that, so they really build to the continuing narrative of the game. Next at number 4 is the resource management in the game, and this is also a pro for my taste with caveats. On the positive side, this is probably the tensest part of the game because you will have limited resources, and the actions you might want to take will often use a whole bunch of them, maybe more than you have. So deciding which things you want to apply your resources for and also hanging on to them, because sometimes events will happen that will reward you if you kept some, is again one of the tenser parts of the experience. But nicely, at the beginning of each year, you get a big influx of resources, more as you build up your town. So we never felt our resources were tight in an unfun or frustrating way, which especially matters because the recurring actions of fishing for food or chopping down wood for your entire turn would get frustrating if you had to do it over and over. But luckily, you aren't going to waste too much time with resource gathering in my experience. Next to number 3, another pro for my taste, you're going to hear a lot of those, are the action choices, because on each turn after your event card, you get to resolve a single action. And with the resources, this is the main source of tension in the game, because many of the actions are either or. If you pick one, you'll lock yourself out of the other. And also, you only get a limited number of actions, and you'll see the number of cards that build up that you can explore will just grow precipitously. And then as you put down locations on the map, they'll have their own little interactions you can spend your actions on to forward your relationship with different characters. So the game does a nice job of giving you that too much to do, what do you want to focus on kind of tension. But without any specific spoilers, I will say that by the end of the campaign, my wife and I were able to do basically everything we wanted to. So the game did a nice job of giving the tension without making us feel annoyed for missing out on opportunities. My number 2 point, which is another full pro, is the sticker placement. And this is a very minor spoiler, but I am zooming in on a tiny portion of my wife and I's completed village with some things you get very early on. And it's hard to see without the full picture, but it is just a joy to pick where you're going to put your stickers, how you're going to kind of array them to make your village look pretty. You get little overlays and changes, like buildings will get upgraded, things will get burned down, you'll add animals and decorations to things. If you like stickers, if you like sort of interior design, like Sims style gameplay, then you're going to have a lot of fun with this. Although one potential caveat I'll add is that except for maybe one exception in the entire campaign that we played, it does not matter whatsoever where you put the stickers. It's just for aesthetic effect. So if you're coming in looking for a strategic choice with your sticker placement, it's not what this game is about. And finally, my number 1 thing to know about the game, the most important in my opinion, is the narrative exploration and the continuing storylines you have. This is another pro. Yes, this is an all-pro game for me. I just adored playing this with my wife. So as I mentioned, as you build buildings and bring people into your town, I'm only showing you the ones from the very beginning of the game, you'll get to interact with them in this storybook, and they'll have either or choices, like you can take people for dates, you can be friends with them, you can tax them and be a jerk to them. And those will lead to these building storylines where your previous choices come back to haunt or help you. And it's just really fun to see where these storylines go. And one of the great things with the game is, while it is a legacy game, while you are putting stickers down, you can flip the board over and make the opposite choice for every either or choice you made in the game and play through the entire campaign again and see all the storylines you missed out on. And just seeing what happens with the crazy inventor, what happens with the farmer was one of the biggest sources of joy enjoy for us as we played. Although one small caveat I'll note is that at the end of most of the storylines, they'll often give you an achievement, maybe ongoing resource production or something like that. But then that character will never get mentioned again in the game, except maybe in an event card. So it can be a little weird if, for hypothetical purposes, let's say you make one of the people in town your best friend ever, and then you never hear from them again because you finished their storyline. Just a slight disconnect there, but I don't think there's any way the game could have modeled that differently. And again, I still loved it. So overall, you might want to check out Cozy Stickerville if you like cozy games, if you like things like Stardew Valley, if you want a fun narrative, a game with low stakes and quick playtime. I just adored this one. My wife and I both loved it. But if you're a more serious gamer, if you're not going to play it with anybody else to kind of enjoy the experience together, if you don't like legacy games, if you don't like stickers, if you don't like light kind of basic gameplay, all of those might make this a miss for you. And if you want to see the game in action with basically no spoilers, go check out my previous demo playthrough. It'll show you how things work. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.